What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here with another late night live stream. Apologies for you guys in Canada. I see Canada losing 2 goals. I think they just got a goal back, 2 goals
They
to one.
scored.
Is it?
They just scored, yeah. So, not late. 15 minutes to go. Don't come over all the matches yet.
Big up to all the Canadians in the chat. We know we got quite a few viewers in Canada, so let's hope Canada can do the business tonight. Obviously, we're going to be live on the Korean channel this evening. Well, I say this evening, 2 in the morning for the Korea game, so looking forward to that. But I know you guys out there, you don't want to be hearing about no World Cup right now. You want to be hearing about what is going on the transfer front at Tottenham Hotspur. We got a few updates to bring to you. And first and foremost, we are going to be speaking about the done deal today, confirmed by Tottenham Hotspur. Martin Dubravka to Tottenham, official, and sub goalkeeper signed on a free transfer, which makes it our third free signing of the summer, with Robertson and Senesi through the door as well. Spurs have been obviously announcing it on their social media. I'm going to bring it up for you guys. Just give me 1 second. There you go.
Official. Just moments after the here we go.
Yeah, literally. Is that like the quickest here we go to official announcement ever?
Yeah, probably. It's definitely up there.
So there you can see it, him in his holding up the jersey. I mean, he's the first signing that we've had holding up the shirt in one of these official. And there's the classic picture there. They did a little interview with him as well, which you should go and check out on the Spurs socials. And they're just telling you his career as well, his decorated career, starting off at MSK Zilnia, ending up in Burnley, and now he is a Tottenham player. Was Burnley's #1 last season, and he said he's got one nickname and it's called Hecko. So that's his nickname. Not sure why.
Oh. And they also carried on the theme of a Tottenham-related person announcing the transfer.
Yeah, it was Blake Iro, who's obviously one of the academy goalkeepers. He's got a brother called Ollie Iro, who's also in the academy and was out on loan this season. But Blake is a goalkeeper, and he was just this is him basically. But he was just talking how much it means to him to be Spurs. He's been at Spurs since a very young boy. But that is the announcement. I don't want to go too much into detail with it because I think you guys want to get on to more pressing issues. But big up to Martin Dubravka.
Well, welcome to the club, Martin. And I think obviously we've been through what we think that means for Anthony Kinsky and Vicario and other potential goalkeeping targets we were linked with earlier. We're going to get onto Kinsky in a moment. But yeah, Dubravka, as we've mentioned, I think he's a solid second choice. I don't have too many complaints. Was quite good for Burnley, I think, last season. Showed he can still play at this level, still got a good save in him, put it that way. I think he was nominated for save of the season with one of his saves. Was very hard at work last season for Burnley with a lot of shots against him, put it that way. But hopefully he won't be too used. I'm not expecting to see too much of Dubravka next season. I think this signing just means more for our #1 choice rather than signing him to use him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Dubravka. Let me just remove you guys. Oh.
Oh.
My computer's playing up here a little. Technical difficulties, you could say that again. My computer's running. This heat wave has destroyed my computer.
Yeah, my one's not exactly Performing too well. One sec. Let me see if I can get in.
I think we're going to have to go without the overlay. You know, I actually can't click anything.
One sec.
There we go. We'll go without the overlay. Sorry about that, guys. But look, let's move on to more pressing issues. Next up is Antonin Kinsky. Jack Pitbrook says Tottenham are set to open talks with Antonin Kinsky over a new improved deal to align more with his standing in the squad now, because he's gone from a young and up-and-coming goalkeeper. Now he's the number one. So they're going to offer him a contract that aligns with that.
It's only natural, isn't it, when a player gets a new kind of status in the squad, then I think their wage should be aligned with that. And so I'm delighted for him. Obviously, we've talked a lot about, you know, his journey, and now he's here as number one after what was an amazing last 7 games of last season to help us stay in the league. And I think this is kind of concrete evidence. This is kind of confirmation, should we say, of now his new status, which is the new number one at Tottenham. And I think getting a new contract would just be official confirmation and reward for what has been an unbelievable redemption for him. And I'm delighted for him. I wonder where we put him. Obviously, it's a bit of a risk from Tottenham to make him your number one just based off the 7 games, because it seemed as though we weren't so sure about him before that. So it is, I mean, we're still kind of going out on a limb, but I mean, they see him in training. De Zerbi's obviously been around him a lot longer. They've obviously also noticed his mentality, and they signed him for a reason, didn't they? They signed him for a reason back 18 months ago because they scouted him and thought very highly of him. So if they're going to make him the number one, I think it makes total sense. You've got to give him a new contract.
Yeah, so currently he's on 30 grand a week. What are we thinking is going to go up to? About 70? Something like that?
Yeah, probably.
And then if he really proves himself next season, that could probably go up. You know, he could probably get a new contract pretty quickly after that.
I mean, a number one keeper at a club like Tottenham, obviously, depending on how their standing is, but if he's if he has a really good season and we're now confident he's the number one long term, because I think next season he's still probably got to prove a bit. As much as he comes in at number one, he's got to prove he can stay as number one now. And I think that's got to be a bit of a challenge for him. So if he can prove that, and he gives us a lot of confidence that he's going to be our number one long term, then yeah, you're looking at probably close to 100 grand a week at that point.
Yeah, so Vicario is 75 grand a week. So maybe they do give him a bit lower of what Vicario was on. Maybe they give him something like 60. And then if he really proves himself, that puts him up to like 75, 80, something like that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, we are increasing the wage structure, aren't we? So, you know, read into that what you will as well.
So big up to Antonin Kinsky once again. On Vicario, Gary Jacob has stated that Spurs are looking for 17 million pounds for Guillermo Vicario, which is that's similar to what we paid for him, isn't it?
Pretty much getting our money back. That's what we're looking at the moment. Yeah, which look, I think he's probably, in my mind, he's worth a bit more than that. He's probably worth about 25 million. That's probably the value, but we've already pretty much made the decision, and it's pretty public at this point, that he ain't going to be our number one. We want to sell him. So that weakens your bargaining power, and you've got to accept that when you make those decisions as early as we have. So I'm okay with it because it means moving early and being decisive. And if it means taking a bit less money, it is what it is. So also you got to remember, clubs in Italy just aren't, and that's where he wants to go back. They're just not flush for cash at the moment. So 25 million in the UK might be might be a small outlay, but in Italy it's more significant. So I think maybe 17 million is a bit more their size.
Yeah. I mean, so look, all on the positive front. Obviously, Vicario's not out the door yet, but goalkeeping situation sorted. We know Kinsky's going to be our number one, and Dubravka's going to be the backup. We've got the defense sorted. We've got 2 players in each position in the defense, and Yeah, so the right back is Pedro Porro Spence, right centre back is Van Hecke and Danso. Left centre back, we've got Mickey van der Ven and Senesi. Left back, we've got Robertson and Destiny Udogie. So it's all shaping nicely. It feels like they're working bottom up in terms of the team. Next up, we're looking at the midfielders. We've got a significant announcement today on the midfield. But just before we get into the midfield, there's just been a report from Sam Luckhurst on Marcus Rashford, saying Marcus Rashford is set to see his weekly wage rise to 325 grand a week. And it has been suggested that Tottenham would be willing to meet his wage demands.
Which would put him as well out in front, wouldn't he, as our highest paid player, which would be incredible. 325 grand a week. I don't understand this report. So he's saying he's getting a wage rise and we're willing to meet it. But why is he getting a rise?
He's probably got in his contract that his wage goes up by a certain percent every season.
Right. So Tottenham are willing to meet it. I mean, if you would ask me, wouldn't even say a year ago, if you asked me a few weeks ago, I would say absolutely zero chance we are willing to meet Rashford's wages of 325 grand a week. But with how things were moving with Tonali, Fernandes, and Van Hecke and other deals, maybe that we are serious about really improving this wage structure. 325 grand would represent 125 grand improvement on our highest earner. So that's a massive increase. Obviously, there's talks of Tonali. We're offering him apparently 250, potentially rising to 275 if we get Champions League. So that would even be a 50 grand a week improvement on him. So, I mean, these are big numbers we're talking about. I mean, should we really be breaking the bank and making Rashford our highest paid player by that amount of money? I think that probably does have to be questioned. However, I do like Marcus Rashford a lot. I think when we know he's a very, very good player. I think there's a reason Tuchel's brought him straight back into England setup, because I think he just offers real quality in front of goal, which I think is very hard to find. That kind of speed, explosiveness coupled with brilliant finishing. He's not the most creative, and I think he can be frustrating in certain games because if he doesn't have the space to play in, he can struggle. But I think he is one of those players who you give him an inch near the box and he can make you pay. And he's especially as well can play up front in certain games. I would love to get him in. I would say if we're signing him, maybe if we're willing to pay the wage packet, maybe we could get some money off. Maybe we're not willing to pay 40 million. I mean, paying 40 million and paying him 325 grand a week, considering he's 28 now. I mean, he's not old, but he's not exactly, does he have all his best years ahead of him?
28 is the prime of your career.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting close to 30. Is in 3 years' time, is he still going to be on top of his game? Those are question marks you've got to ask yourself. I think, he's the prime of your career right now, but obviously it's a player who relies heavily on his pace, nearing 30, and you've just got to be careful with that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's he's about to fall down. I'm just saying you're paying a big fee. Well, the 40 million transfer fee is not massive, but you're paying big wages for a player who maybe in a couple of years' time could be declining. That's the reality. But if you get a couple of his best years out of him, it might be worth it to pay that money.
For me, I think with Marcus Rashford, look, I like the player. Well, I love the player, and I would love to see him in the Spurs shirt next season. But I think the financials involved are just a bit too risky. Because if you sign him up on a 3-4 year deal and it doesn't work out after the first year, you're stuck with him, basically. And we've seen that happen at Manchester United. We've seen his loan spells at Aston Villa and Barcelona, which has been a bit up and down, to be honest. It's not all been good for both these loan spells, albeit I think both fans probably look back at it saying it was a good loan period. I think with Rashford, I was much more convinced with his performances in the Champions League than I was in the Premier League. I think what makes the most sense is a loan move. You loan him for a year, pay the wages for a year, and see if he can convince us to make it permanent at the end of the season. I think paying the money and being stuck with 325 grand's worth of wages for 3-4 years, I don't know if that's smart with Marcus Rashford, because we've seen it in the past where, if he doesn't like where he is, then he proper downs tools. So I think a loan move is probably the only viable option for me.
Yeah, I think loan with an option to buy something like that for like
Yeah.
30 to 40 million and see how that goes. I think that does make a lot of sense, especially where we're at. And obviously, then you get one more on top of him, like whether it be a Savinho or Somerville or someone like that. I think that's probably most preferable. So, yes, that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm worrying. I'm saying the wages is a lot. It is a lot. And then I was like, maybe if we're paying those wages, could we get some money off, or maybe just do the loan deal? I think that probably suits everyone at this point. So if we're prepared to pay the wages, if Man United are looking to shift him, I think the biggest thing for Man United is probably getting those wages off the books, isn't it? I don't think they're crazy about getting that transfer fee right now. I think they know it's unrealistic getting a big one with those wages already. So unless we agree a permanent deal and Man United agree to subsidise part of the wages, but I don't know if they would agree to do that.
I would prefer just to loan him, even if they do subsidise some of the wages. Just loan him. I think he needs to earn his right to play for Tottenham. To be honest, judging by how his Man United tenure did end, so. It's a risky one, Marcus Rashford. It is a risky one, but I think De Zerbi can get the best out of him. I really do. So I think Spurs should go in for a loan, and if we can get in a Savinho, get him and Savinho on the left hand side, all of a sudden you've got Kudus and potentially Kulusevski on the right hand side, and that forward line is starting to shape up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't look. The thing is with De Zerbi, he wouldn't sign him unless he's convinced that this guy, he's going to get him on side and he's going to give 100%. That's De Zerbi just is that kind of character who doesn't take any shit. He'd rather have a player with 50% of the ability who he knows is going to give his all and give his 100%, and play someone who, yes, has got great quality, but his heart's not in it. So obviously De Zerbi will have to have those conversations and he'll have to be convinced in himself. But we know De Zerbi, that character he just doesn't take any shit, does he? So if De Zerbi has that conversation and decides, you know what, we're going to go with it, then I'm willing to go with it.
Yeah, look, that's fair and true, but just because De Zerbi thinks he can get him on side, what if he can't? And halfway through the season, he's not on side, and things start to go a bit down south. So it's just possible with Rashford. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, let's move on to the main story of the stream. I think you guys already know it is going to be about Matias Fernandez. Gary Jacob says that Tottenham are increasingly confident they can beat Manchester United to the signing of Fernandes for up to £80 million from West Ham United. Ben Jacobs says that Spurs are in advanced talks with Mateus Fernandez as they rival Manchester United for the West Ham midfielder. Fernandes is one of Tottenham's top targets, as exclusively revealed. West Ham seeking 80 to 85 million, around double what they paid to Southampton. An incoming £90 million shareholder cash injection is likely to leave West Ham in a stronger negotiating position. Manchester United are also in talks with Fernandes and West Ham. Spurs are also rivaling Man City to Sandro Tonali, and Spurs, Manchester United and Arsenal all have Alex Scott on their radar, who Bournemouth hope to sign a new deal. Movement expected now in the next days and weeks on all fronts as clubs enter the new financial year on July the 1st. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting. Samuel Luckhurst of the Manchester Evening News says that Man U are now at risk of being blown out of the water by Tottenham on wages for Mateus Fernandes. Spurs going big on target salaries, whereas United have started to get the wage management under control. All the ITKs are all suggesting, Spurs journal SZY are saying that Spurs have now come to a verbal agreement with West Ham for Mateus Fernandes. Himothy is saying that Tottenham are extremely confident in completing the signing of Mateus Fernandes within the next 7 days. So let's hope these guys are ahead of the curve. Spurs journal SZY both saying a verbal agreement has now been reached with West Ham for Mateus Fernandes. So yeah, all we're waiting for, we need to be getting the Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano bombers now. That's all that's left.
Yeah, but if they're all getting the same information, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's very, very interesting. If there is truth that Tottenham have agreed a deal with Matias Fernandez, that would mean that Man United have, spent weeks and weeks and weeks trying to get that deal agreed, yet Tottenham have swooped in and got that deal agreed very quickly. That would suggest the deal was moving extremely fast-paced and extremely in the right direction. And I don't think Tottenham would swoop in and do that unless you're getting some form of recognition from the Fernandes camp that he is very interested to come with you to Tottenham if we can get that deal agreed. We have heard from other reporters that personal terms wouldn't be an issue with Tottenham and Fernandes, but we also have heard that Fernandes would prefer a move to Man United, all things being equal. So I guess that it's extremely exciting. Spurs have the potential that Tottenham have maybe agreed a fee with West Ham. We'll have to wait for more official kind of reports to come in. Although you have to say these ITKs, a lot of them have been in the past quite accurate in a lot of things. So I wouldn't say it's nonsense just because they said it, but I've just got, you've got to always take these things with a bit of a pinch of salt, just because until you hear it from a really top journalist or the club, then you never truly know where you lie. But it is very interesting that they're all saying a fee agreed off the back of we've been saying over the last few days, this move does seem to be going in the right direction. All the noise seems to be very, very positive. We have heard from journalists, reliable journalists, that Tottenham are very serious and this move is going in a good. There have been positive talks. So people have said that, haven't they? Been positive talks with Fernandes camp and Tottenham over the last few days. So maybe there is a lot of validity to what these ITKs are saying, and it can't have been easy to have got this agreement, because, as we've said, Man United have really struggled to do it. So we must have been putting a lot of money on the table, put it that way. We must put a really serious big offer on the table for Fernandes if we've got a deal agreed so early. We haven't even heard about getting a deal rejected or anything. It seems to be our first offer. Although you never really know what behind the scenes, if there's been offers turned down or what. But I mean, what are we talking about? 80 million potentially here, and we're blowing Man United away in wages, according to Sam Luckhurst, which is insane to me. I mean, when was the last time that's ever happened?
It's never happened. It's never happened in the history of the Premier League. This is going into new territory here. But with Sam Luckhurst, he actually reported this morning that Man United are growing increasingly confident to make.
Mockbell just tweeted about it.
Oh, what's Mockbell said?
Tottenham, he just says, Tottenham hold talks over West Ham midfielder Fernandes. Talks ongoing. Amid some optimism, a deal is possible. Man United have also shown interest in the Portugal midfielder. So it seems most people are saying that we are front runners at the moment. And that's what most people are reporting now.
But, Man United have been front runners for so long. And what I was just about to say in terms of Samuel Luckhurst, he actually reported this morning that Man United are growing increasingly confident that Mateus Fernandes is going to be their next midfield signing after Ederson. And now he's reporting that, Man United are getting blown out the water. So that is a journalist with close ties to Manchester United. He is a Manchester United journalist for the Manchester Evening News. So he does report a lot on Man U and fairly reliable, I think. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has just tweeted.
So just quickly, going into the article from BBC, Sammy Mockbell, Tottenham have accelerated their interest in West Ham's Matias Fernandez after a failed bid for Sandro Tonali. Fernandes is now viewed as their primary target, with talks ongoing, according to sources, progressing positively, and Spurs optimistic agreement can be reached. West Ham understood to want about 80 million for the Portuguese international, who is linked with Man United and PSG. Last week they had a bid rejected for Tonali. It is understood the offer was worth. Oh no, as for Tonali, it was worth about 80 million. So there now it seems to be very positive about it as well. The BBC. So that's really encouraging as well. And there's no smoke without fire here. They're all talking very positively about it. And now these ITK saying there's a verbal agreement. So now maybe they're playing catch up here potentially. And maybe we're going to hear about a verbal agreement coming.
You know what, yeah? If we get this deal over the line, can we just put all to bed this rivalry with Spurs and West Ham? There's no rivalry here. All they like to do is help us out, Kudus over the line last summer. Canute, Defoe, Scott Parker, all these players that have come from West Ham to Tottenham. This is no rivalry. What sort of rivalry is this? You know what I mean?
All it is with them getting relegated and we're taking their best players. That's all that
They're our
happens.
feeder
It
club.
happens every
They're
time.
our feeder
Literally,
club.
it's
Unbelievable.
embarrassing. It's embarrassing for them. We're taking yet again. They've gone relegated and we're taking their best player. We actually sent them down and then took their best player.
Mate, they are literally our feeder club. History is repeating itself once again. And you're all laughing and joking last year about Kudus and,
Yeah.
West Ham pretending like they didn't care, Nicky pretending that he didn't care and everything. Are they going to care now? Because they're all
What's mad?
waxing lyrical.
You know what's mad about when a lot of the discussion last year when we were potentially in for Kudus was surely West Ham wouldn't sell to us, but that hasn't even been in the discussion this year, has it? That hasn't even been a factor. It's like whatever. Of course, because maybe it's because we know they would because they already sold us Kudus, and maybe they're just more willing to do a deal now. But like no one has said, "Oh, we can't sell to Tottenham." It's not even being really a factor anymore. So look, money talks. I guess when you're in the position that West Ham is, that you can't I guess you can't really afford to be picky once you've been relegated and you're just desperate for the money. It's just about who gives the best offer. And it looks like we might have picked Man United to the post here. I mean, it's a brilliant signing. It really is a brilliant signing. I think it really adds quality to that midfield. It adds that midfielder that I think we're all kind of craving for. Really technical, brilliant passer, great on the turn, picking up the ball in difficult areas. And I think it really just ups the quality that we needed in central midfield. Hopefully we're not done there. But yeah, Matias Fernandez is a great signing, and I think it's going to get a lot of Tottenham fans very excited about what this summer could offer. Really,
yeah, and it's like interesting as well with all the talk of Sandro Tonali. SZY said earlier that De Zerbi really wants a Fernandes over a Sandro Tonali, and he's the the real one that we're pushing for, and he's the one that we like. If he had he didn't say this, but if he had to choose, he'd potentially go for Fernandes over Tonali. Let's hope we can get both over the line. If we get both of those over the line, that is the midfield sorted. The midfield sorted for a number of years. You imagine that double pivot of Sandro Tonali and Mateus Fernandes. Are you joking? Are you joking? Fernandes, 21 years of age, 85 million. There's no chance he's going anywhere anytime soon. Sandro Tonali, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. What was he, 26 years of age, going into his prime years now? Like, that would be one of the best midfield pivots in the Premier League. I'm not even joking.
and when you talk about Fernandes as well, like when we speak about Bergvall, the reality is Fernandes is only 1 year, so it's not like we're going away from. It's not like we're going away from like signing young players. We're just getting young players more proven and can go straight in and is of high quality right now. So even if we like people say, "Oh, are we sacrificed in the future selling the likes of Bergvall, Vuskovic?" But the reality is, if we sell Bergvall, Fernandes is only a year older. It's not like he's 10 years older. So that's still investing in the future. Is my point. Even though he can come now and hopefully perform right now.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. But I think like from what they've both shown in the Premier League, for me, Matias Fernandez is so much further along than a Lucas Bergvall. I know Lucas had a good season a couple of years ago, but I think the levels that Matias Fernandez has shown, not only for West Ham this season, but also for Southampton, he's got much better at West Ham, don't get me wrong. I just enjoy watching him play so much. And I was watching him last season. Him and Somerville in the second half of the season, Fernandes pretty much all the way through the season, just stood out, man. They stuck out like a sore thumb, the quality that they were showing. And Fernandes, I think under De Zerbi will get even better on the ball. I think, under Nuno, he didn't have to, he wasn't able to show his ability on the ball maybe as much as he wanted. But I think he's got real quality on the ball. And I think what De Zerbi's really going to love about these two guys, about Fernandes and Tonali, is their work rate, their sheer energy levels, their tenacity. The work rate is undeniable, particularly, well, with both of them, but with Mateus Fernandes, I mean, he's like a bull in a china shop in that West Ham midfield. He was doing everything at all times. Like, he had to, I think you said it the other day, he had to do the running for him and Thomas Suchek. Well,
yeah.
he really did do that, though, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's got incredible energy. He gets around the pitch really well, but the quality is undeniable. And West Ham really struggled as a team, but he was a shining light in a really struggling team as well. So I really think as well, you put him in under the coaching De Zerbi. I really think De Zerbi can get a new level out of him. There's so much ability in Matias Fernandez, and I think he's really going to shine. He's really going to shine at Tottenham if we can get this over the line. Now, we have heard, obviously, there have been previous reports suggesting could Man United be waiting for a deal to be agreed to swoop in. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any truth to that. We have to wait and see if there's any truth to the deal actually being agreed rather than just accelerated talks right now. But you have to say it all looks really, really promising, considering when, again, a few days ago when this news first broke, we still seemed pretty distant second favourites to Man United. But it seems that we very quickly, put the money on the table and become the front runners in this deal, which is incredible. It's incredible that we've been able to do that so quickly. And it also goes to show the money that we're willing to put down on the table, and that's there for all to see that there is a willingness, to pay what's going to take to get our priority targets, which obviously hasn't been the case previously. So let's see if we can get this deal done, a deal agreed. No, don't get me wrong. 80 million. If it is 80 million, it is a massive fee for someone like Fernandes. As much as I rate him, it is a bit of a crazy fee for him because 80 million, you associate that with some of the best midfielders in the league. And has he proven to be that just yet? Maybe not, but he definitely has potential to be that. But you know what? I was just reading before that Chelsea won 75 million for Malo Gusto. If that's like the going rate for players at the moment, then who's to say if 80 million for Fernandes isn't a bad deal?
Put it this way. If Elliot Anderson is going for 120 million to Manchester City, are you telling me that Mateus Fernandez, there's 40 million difference in between them? You know what I mean? I think if Elliot Anderson's going for 120 million, I think 80 million for Fernandes is probably about right.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a fair fee for him objectively, but I'm saying if you judge it by that transfer.
Yeah, and as I'm saying, if Gusto's 75 million, then fuck it. What 80 million for Fernandes seems like a good deal at that point. So, look, for me, I think it's just great that we've identified a player that we really want in the middle. Even though, usually what's happened before with Tottenham is, Daniel Levy used to kind of wait for all the big boys to make their moves. And so we can kind of hoover up what's left. That's, that was kind of how he did things because he didn't want to get into bidding wars. Yet we've seen Man United have gone for him. We've seen that we know that he's one of our players that we really want. And what's really great is Man United have been front runners and we haven't been put off by that. And we haven't said, okay, United are in for him. We're just backing off now. We actually went in and say, we actually can afford you. We actually can blow Man United out of the water here. And let's see if Fernandes will be open to it. Why not? Because we actually really want him. And even though Man United are there, we're not scared by that. So I think that's something definitely as well that previously we would never have done.
Are we getting our pants pulled down again? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. We're getting our pants pulled down. I wish every day we get our pants pulled down and we end up with the player. That's all I care about.
I'll tell you what, if Levy was still here at the club, Van Hecker wouldn't be here through the door. And there's no chance we would go into negotiations with Fernandes because he would think that Man United would be outbidding us and offering the wages. And there's no chance we go in for Tonali either. You know what I mean? None of these deals that we're looking at, we would be doing under Daniel Levy. So the post-Levy era is taking shape. It's taking shape.
Levy looking at this deal would be rolling in his Tottenham board grave, I think, if he was looking at this deal. Absolutely no chance that he would go and he would touch this deal. He would say, Man United are going for him. I'm not getting in a bidding war with them, so we're moving on to a different target. And he would also he would say, I am paying 80 million or 85 million. Absolutely no chance. He would say, he would probably say, I'm paying like 50 and that's it. I'm not going a penny more. That's kind of where I know Levy. That's where he would be at. So it definitely suggests a change in approach from Tottenham and a change in how we operate in the transfer market, and even just rivaling Man United and thinking we can, get one over on them when they're currently in negotiations with the player is something that is just alien to us. It's something which is why even when we heard about this deal before, you're like, yeah, we want him, but Man United are there, and we're not really going to get him, are we? If Man United are there, well, it just shows. Even though we finished 17th twice, and Man United started negotiations weeks ago, we can still get the deals done. That shows how money talks, and I think that's something that Levy, really failed while he was chairman at Tottenham to really take advantage of. We had all these financial advantages, yet we never used that advantage ever. We only use that advantage over smaller clubs.
Yeah, and now look, it says it all when last summer we're going for Mbeumo. Man United are going for Mbeumo. They've got no European football. We got Champions League. He goes to Manchester United because they're offering the better package. And obviously, he says, he always wanted Man United and he's a big Man United. I'm telling you, if we would have offered the bigger financial package, I bet you we would have come here to play Champions League football. But he went to Manchester United. Now we're the ones not in no Europe. They're the ones in Champions League. And it looks like we're going to pit them to the post to Matias Fernandez. So this European football thing's a bit overstated, isn't it?
Well, I think yes and no. I mean, it only means so much, put it that way. I think with all things being equal, I think most people would choose a team in the Champions League. But the thing is, they haven't been equal. Last summer we weren't prepared to pay what was necessary to maybe get the deal over the line in that instance. And I think this summer, clearly, from all from the reports, Man United aren't prepared to pay what's taken to get over the line. So as much European football only makes so much of a difference. If you're prepared to pay 10 to 15 million more than the other team, then that's going to take precedent, isn't it? Over the other team. But then they look back, Semenyo, apparently we offered a larger package for Semenyo, but he went to City because they're a better team. And they're going for a title.
The players got to be willing to come. The players got to be willing to come, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And I just can't believe 2 17th place finishes in a row, and we're able to attract these kind of players. I would have thought we would have had to go for a much lower caliber of player this summer. But it just shows as well how much of a good job and how much excitement De Zerbi has brought to this football club in such a short space of time. Because people want to come to Tottenham to play for De Zerbi. If Thomas Frank was still here and we just about finished 17th and whatever, and we just escaped relegation, there's no chance we're getting these players. De Zerbi is the X factor here.
Or even if we were, still here, sitting here waiting for Poch, would we be able to move like we're moving right now? So getting De Zerbi in just in time has seemed to have really changed. It's really changed the trajectory of this football club. Getting him in, him keeping us up, showing a little bit of De Zerbi ball as well, him having that passionate way about him. I think he's the one who gives a lot of people hope. And I know we're making all these moves and that's super exciting, but it's only as exciting as it is because you've got someone like De Zerbi at the helm, who we know the football he plays. If he gets, the players that he wants to play in that system, and we pay big money to get a lot of these players in, and we're getting these perfect profiles. I mean, it's going to be some watch next season, watching Tottenham in full flight. I'm really looking forward to it.
I know. And it's the first time we've really just precisely targeted the profiles, the positions, exactly what we want. And if we get those two over the line, midfield done, and from pretty much from the point we sign them till the end of the window, it's just that forward line, isn't it? You get 1 or 2 wingers in, you get a number 9 in, and our incoming business will be done. And that's a complete squad overhaul, pretty much. You got players that have come in. Look, this is all hearsay. If it actually does happen, these are the players that significantly improve our starting lineup. Something that we've been calling for so long.
Yeah, many of them as well. And not only do they significantly improve the starting 11, but also players that seem to be kind of really fitting into what we want to do here as well. And then, really good profile fits for the squad. And that's something that, sometimes we've been guilty of, buying square pegs for round holes. in the squad and buying players we don't really need when there's other pressing situations. Obviously, that still has to be proven because we still need to get all this stuff done. And as well, there's a hell of a lot of departures that need to be sorted. And if looks like we're focusing on the incomings before the outgoings, which is also another difference, which we have never done before. We wouldn't buy until we've got the players that we want out off the books. Otherwise, we end up keeping them. That's also another thing we usually do. So, yeah, I'm super excited about the start of this transfer window and where, all the noise that the club have been making, and now they seem to be putting into action, and that seems to be the most encouraging thing. As Lewis family said, and I'm going to keep saying it, they said actions speak louder than the words, and that's 100% true. Well, this is action. This is what we're seeing, and obviously we need all of it to go through. And if it doesn't happen, then I want to see them move on to Wharton or Alex Scott or whatever. But another big midfielder. But I want to see these kind of deals, and the fact that there's a willingness to put £80 million down on the table for Matias Fernandez, that is a real statement of intent, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, couldn't agree more. So that is the news as of now. The ITK is reporting that a verbal agreement has been agreed. It is in place between Tottenham and West Ham for the signing of Matias Fernandez, believed to be around £80 million for the 21-year-old. So we'll wait and see. Romano, Matti Moretto, David Ornstein, we're waiting on their tweets. We're waiting on it. So I'm literally refreshing Twitter every second for a big bombazo. But this one's good to get me going. Got my juices going. But that's the news as of now. Let's get into a few super chats. So where are these super chats? Here we go. Kono Takai says, someone check on Goldbridge if this happens. Did you see Goldbridge's tweet a few days ago? He was like, Tottenham interested in Matias Fernandez, lol.
He said Tottenham trying to hijack a deal off Man United is a bit like a dog trying to get a bone off a lion or something like that. And seems as though we've been able to do it. Seems as though our bone is bigger than his.
Exactly. Joey Boy, member for 6 months, says, big up, guys. Always look forward to your streams. Big up to you, Joey Boy. Josh Smith says, do you think Fernandez is easier deal compared to Tonali? I think I don't know.
It should have been, because Tonali, you're getting off Newcastle, who are, their rivals in the Premier League. There's also potentially Arsenal and City over Tonali. So I think if you went at the beginning of the summer, what's going to be an easy deal to do? You probably would have said Tonali. I mean, Fernandes would have been an easier one.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But Man United seem to have been so early on in this deal, so far along. So you're thinking at the time when we got the first news about Tonali, you would have probably thought Tonali was the easier deal to do because it looked like Man United had wrapped up Fernandes.
Yeah, but I think that was only because we were hearing that Tottenham were advancing for Tonali. So at that point, with if City and Arsenal aren't there, but you would say on the face of it, Tonali's the more ambitious deal, isn't it?
100%. But I do think we need Fernandes more than Tonali. I agree with De Zerbi. Chris Jennings says that would prefer Scott. He'll give more for the badge. Would you prefer Scott over Fernandes?
Would I prefer Scott over Fernandes? That's a tough one. Probably, to be honest. Not to say that doesn't mean I don't rate Fernandes, but I would love to have someone as good as Scott and who's fully poised in the team. I would love to bring him to Tottenham, and I think he could be. I think he probably had an even better season than Fernandes. So I think they have slightly different strengths and weaknesses. But if I'm just looking at midfielder, I probably would prefer Scott.
Do you not think that the profile Fernandes is, we need that more than an Alex Scott? Yeah,
probably. Just about. I think Scott can do what we want from Fernandes, but maybe Fernandes is a bit better at it right now. But then there are things that Scott can do that Fernandes isn't as good at, I think. So they're both very good. Obviously, Scott is a year older. He's 22. Fernandes is 21. So on the age wise, very similar. I don't know what the deal with the price would be. Obviously, we know Scott's got a year left on his deal, but they're hoping he signs a new one. It's very close in terms of who I'd rather, but just the fact that Scott is fully coys, like I'd just love the chance to bring him in.
Yeah, I get that, but I think I'd actually prefer Fernandez over Scott. I think he brings us a lot more what we need in the team. Having said that, I mean, bring in both, mate. Why does it have to be one or the other with this newfound?
We would have to be probably not going for tonight. I don't know. We can't sign 3 players for 8 million, can we? Who knows?
Well, we got to sign the bloody number 9. How much is that going to cost?
Yeah, true. Well, we
we spent 50 on Van Hecker, and we're supposedly spending 60 on Savinho.
I mean, we're not going to spend buy 3 players for 80 million in midfield. I mean, not in general.
Yeah. Probably not.
But we have to sell. Yeah, look, we have to raise a lot of funds from sales.
Yeah. Look, Romero. Where do you think Romero's head is at right now? Seriously, because we brought up the report a few days ago about Romero potentially having a change of heart, but the source was absolutely crap. But I can actually see some. I think they're just guessing, because I think actually you can see a bit of validity to it, because what Spurs are doing now is what Romero had been dreaming Spurs have been doing over the past couple of years. So do you reckon he's looking around at what is going on and he'd be like, well, Levy's gone. Spurs are actually flexing their muscles. Maybe this is the place I should stay at.
I think, as I've always said, I think he would get on really well with De Zerbi. I think if anyone can convince him to stay, it would be De Zerbi. So I think in another scenario, he would be he would stay. But
I'm not talking about him being convinced to stay. I'm just talking about him looking around and seeing what Spurs are doing and seeing the ambition that Spurs are showing right now. And even without being convinced by De Zerbi or talking to anyone, being like, do I really want to leave this football club right now?
Depends who's in the offing, I guess. I mean, if the article is right and it's Brentford and Palace, obviously not. Even if it's like a Man United, I don't know if he would be that like desperate to leave Tottenham for that. But if he's going back going to La Liga or a big team, like one of those teams, then I think even though Tottenham are making moves, that's still hard to turn your nose up at, isn't it? And I think if Atletico do sell Alvarez, which has been rumoured, I do wonder whether that gives them the money to go and get Romero.
Yeah, but they're going to have to replace Alvarez with a big player.
Well, they'll replace him, but they won't have to spend the whole money on it.
How much is he rumoured to be going for?
100.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll spend a good 60, 70 on a new forward.
They're always good at replacing, just finding a gem somewhere.
There's talk about them going in for Gyökeres.
Yeah, Gyökeres. If they sell 100, and well, there's even talk of maybe a swap deal for him and Gyökeres and Alvarez.
I think he only wants Barca, doesn't he?
Who?
Alvarez.
Yeah, he wants a transfer, that's for sure.
I thought he literally only wants to join Barcelona.
He said that's his dream, I think.
Yeah.
Imagine
that. His dream is to play for Barcelona in this high-pressing Hansi Flick team. And then he has to go to Arsenal and play in that haram ball.
Yeah, God, yeah. No chance. I think Gyökeres is a proper Atletico striker, though, isn't he?
100%. I really think he is, yeah.
George Sessions, there's confidence growing. Tottenham can strike a deal for Fernandes. Final package likely to be around the £85 million mark, but work to do.
Mr. Bombastic, Mr. Fantastic. Come on!
It's mad how quickly this deal is being moving.
I know, and it feels like just Tonali's just a bit on the back burner a little bit until we get this done. Hopefully it's not gone quite on the Tonali thing, and we actually will get that over the line as well.
I reckon what some of the rumours are has been saying is there's actually not as much competition for Tonali is Fernandes. So when it came to Fernandes, you got to move a lot quicker.
It's a good point Hansi makes in the comments, yeah. If we're willing to put 320k down in wages for Rashford,
it's not a bad shout.
If we are willing to do that, go put the balls on the line for Victor Osimhen.
100%.
Could you imagine?
100%. Why not? He's on, what is he on now? I don't know what he's on. Go give him 350. Go get him from Galatasaray. He doesn't want to be playing in Turkey. Let's be honest. He doesn't want to be playing in Turkey. He's there because he's getting the money that he wants. But if we can give him the money, come on. What a signing that would be. That would really put us in a different territory if we got someone like Osimhen up front, a proper killer in the front line like that. He's still so good, Osimhen. I watch him play. He's still class.
He's amazing.
Spurs Journo has just tweeted again.
Saying?
He tweeted the Tonali tweet. Tottenham are increasingly confident of securing Tonali. Extensive conversations have been ongoing with Newcastle. De Zerbi insisting he wants both. And for him, the Fernandes and the Italian. Spurs are not fearful of a hijack.
What the fuck is going on, man?
Spurs, so he
drops a Fernandes bomber, and an hour later he's dropping a Tonali bomber. Like, what is this football club?
Surely, what is going on here? What is going on here? What's... Spurs Journo is putting his balls on the line here. Tonali and Fernandes increasingly confident, not fearful of a hijack. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that we want to get it done before any hijack. I don't want to get too comfortable. Oh my God.
Get Sandro Tonali and get Matias Fernandez over the line as soon as you can, people. We have to get these players. If we get these players, it puts us completely in a new stratosphere straight away without even upgrading the forward line. But we still need to upgrade the forward line for sure. But in terms of that midfield three, Fernandes, Tonali, Maddison, Javi to come later. Where does that rank for you in the Premier League in terms of midfields?
Fernandes, Tonali, Maddison. The problem with that is you just don't know what Maddison we're going to be seeing next season. But I mean, in theory, I think already, definitely better than Newcastle's because we're taking their best midfielder. I don't think Villa have as good a midfield as that. You're looking at the Man United, or depending on who they sign, but I think it's, what would be Bruno, Edison, and who right now would their midfield? Maybe Kobe Mainu. That's still pretty strong.
Mate, I'm looking at Arsenal's midfield. Is Rice not the only player that gets into that starting 11?
Rice, Zubimendi, and Odegaard. Arsenal fans would take Odegaard over Maddison, wouldn't they, right now?
Odegaard has been crap for 2 years.
Yeah, but Maddison's on an ACL.
Yeah, it's true. But still.
He's definitely not. It's not like they're definitely comparable, put it that way.
Like 3 years ago, they were saying like Odegaard's the best midfielder to slide Brett.
Apparently there's rumours they'd be willing to sell him this summer.
Yeah, there are. They would be willing to sell him because he's been crap.
It puts us right in the mix, with definitely the best double pivot. It just depends. If we get a good Maddison, then it's right up there. Right up there.
I'm just messaging Spurs Journo, seeing if he wants to come on quickly and drop us a bombazo online. What do you reckon?
If he's willing to.
He's on the way to the doctors.
Ah, tell him to get his head checked to make sure he's getting the right info. He ain't fooling us.
He's just messaged me saying, I think Bomber soon.
Bomber soon.
We get a
What are we
Bomber tonight.
meaning? What are we
we get the
one of the big
Bombazo.
ones? One of the biggest. One of the big ones.
I think that's what he means, yeah.
Jeez. Jeez. Madness. Absolute madness happening at Tottenham Hotspur right now.
Regardless, we ain't sleeping tonight anyway, so we'll be
Exactly.
here. We'll be here.
We are going to be covering all the bombers that you would wish for.
We ain't sleeping till the Bomber. The Bomber. Oh,
Secret bomber.
Can you feel it coming? I can feel it coming in the air of the night. Oh, Lord.
If this is what we're doing,
moment all my life.
if this is what we're doing in June, who knows what more surprises they've got in store for us this window.
I know.
No one saw these. No one saw these coming.
Nobody, mate.
Nobody saw these coming. These aren't players we've been linked to pre-De Zerbi.
No, pre-De Zerbi, you're getting Kevin Danso, and look, Kevin Danso has been very good for us, but this ain't the same caliber. You know what I mean? Oh, it's unbelievable.
A fish. Only Bomber is them holding the shirt. Spurs Jono just said, "Yeah, we know. We've just covered it." Unless he said something else. No, same thing. Spurs Journo, SZY, the two horsemen of the transfer window.
It's coming, people. It is coming. But
the IPKs they were promised.
Exactly. A lot of credibility is going to be lost if we don't get these over the line. But I believe them. So we'll see. We'll see. It could be a double bombazo. It could be a Mr. Boombastic, Mr. Fantastic. Oh, God.
It'd be too good to be true, getting them both over the line. It would just be too good to be true. I just can't even allow myself to believe it's actually happening yet. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but it looks good, man.
We never celebrated 200k subs. We'll celebrate it now with the two bombers about to come, the imminent bombers. Big up to you, though. Thank you so much. All right, look, let's call it a day there. Hopefully, we'll be back with you very, very soon. Hopefully.
We will be. Whenever anything drops, we will be covering it. You bet your ass.
So, yeah, enjoy. Scotland about to kick off against Brazil in just under half an hour. So I'm going to go and watch that. And, yeah, I got a feeling it could be a bit of a one side. You know, never know. Scotland could turn up, but it's a big game. Big game. I've been looking forward to this one. We'll see you all very soon, people. We'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.